Welcome to Negotiation with Alice, your negotiation podcast. Everything that you do where you need to get on the same page with someone else is a negotiation. So whether you have to negotiate a contract with someone, or you simply need your boss to sign off on that program that you'd like to implement, or you want to figure out how to rebalance the chore structure in your home, or talk about what vacation you want to go on. All of these things are negotiations. So in my podcast, we go over both personal and professional conversations, which all are considered negotiation, and I will give you tips on how to come out ahead. Welcome to the show. Welcome to another episode of Negotiation with Alice. Today, I have Rachele Schainker here with us from CMIT Solutions. Hello, Rachel.
Hello, Alice. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So I would love for you to share with everyone what it is that you do. And just out of pure transparency, Rachel is my IT person. So she's helped me many, many times and she's fantastic. So Rachel, share with everyone what it is that you do.
Sure. So I'm the owner-founder of CMIT Solutions, and we're based in San Mateo, which is the peninsula in the Bay Area. We primarily support clients located in the Bay Area, but we can help remotely across the country. We are a managed service provider, which means we partner with small businesses, helping them with their IT needs. We make sure their data is backed up, their devices are secure, answer any kind of help desk questions they may have. We're a team of 8. We're growing. We love working with small businesses. I come from a corporate background and just really enjoying focusing on small businesses to make sure they have the same security that large global organizations have.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Rachel. And Rachel, what is your negotiation question for the day?
Yeah, so sometimes when I have a prospect come in or a referral and I'm talking and learning about their company and like how we can help them and support them, and it's a fine line for me to, really talk about the cybersecurity threats that are out there and not coming off like fear factor. But if I dial it back too far and just act like these are nice tools to have, sometimes the prospect isn't always like understands like how at risk they are. So as my question to you is, as I'm presenting a proposal and reviewing their risk assessment essentially, and kind of how we can close up those gaps, how do I take any kind of feedback of, oh, I have, my partner can do this, or my web person can do this, kind of really negotiating those final, deals so I can close the deal with them.
Yeah, so I think really, and let's just kind of dive into a little bit more about the questions that you might be asking, or the discovery phase of it. Because a lot of times when we are selling services, and I'm just as guilty, like we like to say, hey, here's all the bells and whistles that we offer, and here's how we can help you, without really deeply understanding what their fears are or their concerns.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, when you're talking to them, if you ask a lot of questions about like, what would you do when this happens? What would you do when that happens? And that sort of thing, like bringing up scenarios that are very realistic.
That's a great point, Alice. I don't think I go too far into that. My general discovery is to kind of ask what they have currently in place, where their data is, how they're functioning day to day, what the organization looks like, if they're in an office or if they're remote, kind of understanding just how their general process goes, but not necessarily being like really questioning them about, do they have an incident response plan, or what would you do if you lost your access to your Google? So that is one thing I don't do that. And I wonder if I don't do that because I'm hesitant to kind of put them on the spot. And it's difficult for me to like call out, oh, like there's a big hole right there. That's pretty obvious to me and maybe not so obvious to them.
Yeah, I think that is a really good point because it is very obvious to you. But so let's just go into the analogy of the car, right?
Hmm.
So you might be saying like, here's what the catalytic converter does, and here's what, all
Yeah.
these things. And the person is like, I have no idea what she's
Yeah.
talking about. And you might be saying like, without the brakes, I mean, people know what brakes are, but let's just say that someone doesn't know at all what the
Right.
car does. And you say, without the brakes, this and that can happen, and without a turn signal, this and that can happen. And they'll be like, okay, I don't even understand what Rachel just said, so
Yeah.
I think I'm good,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
But what you might want to ask is some similar questions, such as, okay, so let's say you're going 60 miles an hour and there's all of a sudden a deer that walks in front of you
Hmm.
and you don't have any brakes. What do you imagine would happen? And I'd be like, I don't know. That would be very bad. Like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Like, but like the scenarios should be realistic
Yes.
so
Yeah.
that I myself can envision, like, yeah, that can happen to me versus, oh, these are outrageous. That would never happen to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Right. Sort of thing.
Hmm.
Like, even like, I don't know, asking someone to envision that they're in a plane crash. Most people are like, I highly doubt I'm going to be in a plane crash.
Right.
That doesn't happen that frequently. But really giving real world examples
Yes.
to say, okay, I'm going to give you a few examples, and I just want to make sure that you're prepared.
Yeah.
And so then really flush out. Don't just say like, oh, what if you lost access to your Google files?
Right.
Like, you want to really paint the picture.
Yeah.
In scenario one, this might happen. And we're going to do it right now. I'm going to ask you for some of those
Okay.
scenarios. And then asking like, how would you handle that? Are you prepared? How badly could it damage your business?
Yeah.
How badly can it damage your reputation?
Yeah. Yeah.
If this were to happen, right? Because if you are handling sensitive and confidential documents, like if you're a lawyer,
Right.
and all of a sudden, like, someone has access to that, and now all your client's personal information is out there,
Yep.
like, people may be like, I'm not using that law firm because like they just exposed all of
Yeah.
our stuff,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Or we lost a case because someone stole all the information and this, that, and the other, right? So
Yeah.
I would love to hear, like, let's just go over a role play. If you were to ask me some questions about, are you prepared for X, Y, and Z?
Yeah.
I'm putting you on the
Okay.
spot.
All right. Okay. Excellent. So I would open with Alice. I'm so happy, you reached out. Let's tell me about your company. How many people how many people on your team are you using? Tell me about the hardware you're using. Tell me a little bit about how your network is or where people are working.
My answer would be like, well, it's just basically me right now,
Yeah.
and I just have one laptop, and yeah, and I use
Yeah.
Google Drive.
Yeah. Exactly. And do you have any security in place today?
So let's say that I'm not using Rachel currently,
Okay, fair.
because
Yes.
currently I am.
Yes.
But
Yeah,
we're gonna
this is
see.
role play. Yeah.
Um, no, I mean, I feel like, aren't my files kind of like
Yeah.
safe just
Yeah.
being in Google Drive?
Well, actually, no. There is a in the fine print of your terms and agreement, Google is not on the hook for your data. That's a common misconception that people think, oh, it's in the cloud, it's there, but you really need to be backing up your Google Drive because what would happen if one day, you lost access to all of your files and all of your emails? What would you do?
Yeah, that would be really bad. But I mean, I don't know that that would happen. I've been doing this business for like almost 10 years, and that's never happened. So I don't know that I really believe that that would
Well,
be.
I mean, I have seen it happen. I've had prospects where it's happened to them before. So it is a data loss. This is called data loss prevention, similar to shoplifting in a store. It can happen electronically where somebody gets in there and actually it does happen. I'm happy to say it hasn't happened to you, but it could happen. And there's some really easy tools that we can take. So if it was to happen, we can spin it back up. I actually had a prospect where we were talking to them about it, and they had an outlying computer that wasn't in their network, and somebody had accessed it, and somebody went in there and cleared it all out. So and that was a law firm, and it was a huge mess because we had to we ended up helping them, communicate to their clients about what had happened and set it back up. But they had to pay a ransom to get their data back. And so it was a huge mess. So it does happen. And it's something I would not want to happen. You know, that's part of why I'm in business, is to help small businesses so they don't have to deal with this. Another threat vector, if you will, is email security. I would almost say email is a bigger threat than antivirus malware on your computer. I mean, we have some good products now for your computer to make sure nothing gets in there. But email security, spoofing, that's something. Have you experienced any sort of anomalies with your emails? Are your emails being safely delivered? Do you know?
Um, I'm not sure about being safely delivered. I know that I do get some spam. I get stuff that has like, warnings that are like, this looks like it could be a
Yeah,
scam,
yeah.
but I don't know
What about
my
when you email people? Are your emails landing in their inbox, or is it going to their spam folder? Or do you know?
I think if I'm doing like email newsletter, then it may be landing in spam, but I think that if I'm sending something directly to somebody, I believe they are landing. Like if I'm sending something directly to you,
Yeah,
just
yeah,
to you.
yeah, yeah. So that's great. That means I know you have, I know we're role playing here, but your DNS records are really important, and it's becoming more complicated. Google and Microsoft are looking at fraudulent emails and domains much more closely than they did in years past. So it's real important that your domain reputation is at a very high level, so those emails will be delivered, and there's no problems, because sometimes that also happens where a business is sending out emails and they think their client's receiving them, and there's some problems with landing in the inbox. And so we want to make sure your emails are being delivered. It's not causing any business processes. It's not you know what's the word, inhibiting you from doing your day-to-day business. So email is something that we look at really really closely to make sure it will be delivered safely and securely.
Okay. So I'm going to pause right here.
Okay.
So my feedback is it's still not quite like invoking fear in me enough to be like, I need an IT person, right? Because I'm like, okay, so my
Yeah.
emails are fine,
Yeah.
right? So you need to try to find
Yeah.
where is my fear
Right.
regarding IT.
Oh, fair.
Because,
Okay.
right?
Yeah. So,
Because if
like,
you're like,
questioning you, like, what is your, like, what is your, I mean, and maybe is it just that blank? Is it just that, like, Alice, what is your biggest cybersecurity threat? Or what are you fearing? Are you worried about, or just don't fill it in, let them fill it in.
yes, don't fill it in.
Yeah.
And also be careful not to use jargon. When you say
Yes.
DNS, like I keep getting these emails. I'm like, I have no clue what this is.
Fair.
I'm going to
Yeah.
forward it to Rachel, who's my IT person,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like I'm constantly forwarding it because I'm like, not only do I not know, I don't care to know.
Right.
I'm like,
Right.
I don't want to get it.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
don't
No,
want to
you have
send
other things to do. Yeah.
that people don't understand because then if they don't understand it, it's going over their head, right?
Right. Right.
You might be seeing something very important with oh, you got a clean DNS record. That means
Yeah.
literally nothing to me. Nothing at
Do
all.
you ask, like, about if they've had any sort of experience in the past? Like, have they experienced a breach before? I mean, is that worthwhile to find out if they've had that experience?
Yes, because if they had that experience and it was a terrible experience, they're going to feel a little bit of trauma around it, right? They'll be
Yeah.
like, ah, that was really horrible. It felt really bad, right?
Yeah.
Then you can also dive into, okay, so that happened. What did you do to fix it? And what did you do to ensure that that will never happen again?
Yeah. Sometimes I feel like if people have had that experience, then it's like they get it. And it's like if they haven't had that experience, then they're kind of the unknown of like, oh, that's never going to happen to me, and they don't really
Yes.
know how bad it
Yes.
can be.
So you might want to say, like, what is your biggest fear?
Yeah.
Like, so
Yeah.
you can say, hey, you called me to set up
Yeah.
this appointment. I'm
Right.
curious, like, what are your concerns? Because if
Yeah.
I have this concern over here and
Yeah.
you're talking about this concern
Yes.
over there that I don't
Yeah.
have, you're missing the boat on the close of the
Yeah.
sale.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, oh, she didn't address my fear. She didn't even ask about it.
Yeah.
So therefore, I feel pretty safe. I feel pretty
Yeah.
comfortable because like I personally didn't even think about my fear. So my
Right.
fear is like all tucked
Yes.
away in my subconscious.
Alice, that's so good. That's really good because I think, personally, this is my area where I need to grow is like having those difficult conversations. It's not intuitive for me. Like I do tend to shy away and be like, "Oh, what what can we talk about that's nice?" But, talking to, prospects or even current clients. I mean, I should go through everyone and be like, what are you, what is still keeping you up at night? What fear have we not kind of resolved? Like while I can do this with prospects, I think I can also do this with current clients to make
Right.
sure.
Like someone might say, maybe you're talking about email safety. And actually, when I originally called you, but you never
Yeah,
surfaced, for example,
yeah,
might be that I'm like, I can't back everything up. I just feel like it's not top of mind.
yeah,
I know I should be, but I'm not doing it. So I don't have good hygiene when it comes to
right,
backing up. But
right,
if you talk about email stuff the whole
right,
time,
right.
or
Oh,
you
it's
talk
so
about
good.
malware,
Yes,
and we never get there,
yeah,
then we're gonna hang up, and I'm not gonna use you. I'm gonna be
yeah,
like, I don't need all that stuff you're
yeah,
talking about.
yeah,
And then you're like, oh, I missed the opportunity to
yes,
understand that Alice's biggest concern is
yeah,
she's not backing everything up.
yeah. Do you
You know what I mean?
suggest, like, I know there are all of these, like, I have personally not really gone through like a sales, there are different sales processes that you can, I mean, do you suggest that to people when they're kind of entering, the sales realm, like that they do get some sales training, or is it more about negotiation and understanding, that kind of the prospect and getting to what their fears are and what their needs are. Do you think like those sales things are important or
So
not?
it depends on who you study under, right?
Yeah,
Like, for example, when I'm training people for negotiation, it's also for sales. But
right.
here's the thing, if you end up training and they're like, here, which frequently happens in other places where they're like, here's a list of questions, you want to ask these questions.
Yeah,
And so what they're trying to do is they're trying to shortcut a way to train people. They're
right.
like, take these questions and just ask them. The
Yeah,
problem with that kind of training is you don't listen.
yeah.
You don't listen because you're already looking at the next question to ask.
Mhm.
There should never be a script.
Right.
The only goal is let me go find out what is keeping Alice up at night,
Yeah,
right? That is like the only goal you have. So every single prospect that you talk to, you want to find out what IT fear
yeah,
is keeping them up at night.
yeah, yeah,
Like you can even ask them that. You can say like,
yeah.
what IT? What is your scariest nightmare when it comes to
Yeah.
IT? Like because it's like a fun and friendly way
Right,
of
right.
opening to say
And then
like,
what if they say nothing? What if it's like, because I do have a lot, I mean, I do also I get the extremes. Either they're very tech focused and like they want to do it themselves, or I get people that just don't even want to talk about it. And so I think I'm wondering if I have held back of asking what your biggest fear is because it's interesting. Like, I don't want to put them on the spot. Like, maybe they don't have any fears, or maybe they haven't thought about
well, here's the other thing that you might want to consider. Maybe they don't have fear. You know how like when what you don't know? Like
it. Exactly.
whatever you don't know,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And so it could be that they don't have fears because they don't know what they don't know.
yeah.
So then if you come across someone who has no fears, it doesn't mean that they understand everything and they're not
Right.
afraid.
Mhm.
It means there's a whole section of things they don't know.
Yes.
And so, great. If they say, I have no
Yeah,
fears, that
yeah,
is a great place to say, great.
yeah.
I'm glad you don't have any fears. Let me just educate you on a few of the things that might happen,
Right.
and let's talk about how you feel about them. So, you're going to educate me
Yeah,
and let me know, by the way,
yeah.
Google is tamping down on emails. So, just so you know, a lot of your emails may not be going to people
Right.
because in the last 2 years, it's been tamping down
Yeah,
because they're trying to block spam, for
yeah.
example, right? And you might say, and then this happens, and then here's another thing that happens, and here, and so educate the client
Yeah,
because chances are The reason why they don't have any fear is because they don't
I
know
don't
what they
know.
don't know.
Yeah. A few weeks
Okay.
ago, I did present to my one of my networking groups, and a member in that group reached out afterwards and was like, "Oh, I think because I did I talked about the scenario. I talked about the law firm that had like lost access to their Google, and it kind of resonated. He's a solopreneur, but he was like, "Oh, we need to talk." He's like, "If I lost my client data, that would be, so it did kind of click in once and I haven't
Yes.
really done a presentation like that before. Normally I just go through what we can do. But I tried the storytelling, and yeah, it rang for him,
Yeah.
it connected.
So obviously, like coaching with someone like me is going to help, especially if you're
Yes.
like, it's really hard. You can always come coach with me and we go over the different scenarios where I make it difficult for you to close. But eventually, after you practice and practice and practice,
Yes.
you actually get better
Yeah.
because you either can practice with a coach or you practice with your prospects.
Right.
But it depends on what level. Like, if you're like, I don't want to practice and lose sales, right?
Yes.
Then you probably want to like go
Yes,
with a
that's not the
coach.
place. Yeah. Are you still doing, because I did do that a few years ago. Remember, I did go through your negotiation coaching. Are you still doing those?
I do them, so we can talk
Okay,
offline,
excellent.
definitely.
Would love to. Yeah, because that
Yeah.
was right when I first started, and it was very helpful because you came up with those scenarios. We were in a safe setting. Everyone could learn from each other. So yeah, that was a great opportunity.
And just to my listeners, I did not pay Rachel to say that, nor did I sponsor.
No, no, it's true. True testimonial for sure.
But yeah, so you want to make sure that you listen deeply to
Yes.
what the fears are, and you, like the words like great or fantastic, those are all periods, meaning like it ends the conversation.
Yeah.
Right? So if you say, "Oh, well, what keeps me up at night is I'm really afraid of losing my client data," then you can say, ask deeper questions about that.
Yeah, like what would happen if
Right?
you didn't have your client data, right?
Right.
How would that
Or
impact you? What couldn't you
yes,
do?
yes.
What are the
Or what
ramifications?
would
Yeah.
happen if you can't access it for 24 hours? Like, how would that impact your business? And they might be like, I would be freaking out and having a heart attack.
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so you can say, and imagine if you have an IT person, you can just pick up the phone and call them. We can start troubleshooting right away. But if you don't have an IT team in place, like who would you call if you suddenly can't access because it's a little late in the game to be calling to try
Yeah.
to hire someone
Right.
in
Yeah.
the moment that you have no
No.
access.
And to be
So,
honest, that's when a lot of people either they come on board because they know they need it and they're like, this is a checklist, or they're in a crisis. Like I've had a lot of people come on board because they're in the middle of a hack. And it's like, okay, let's see how we can undo it. And it's just none of it would even happen if we would have came on board beforehand. We could have like stiff armed all of it. So
right. And
yeah,
you can even ask people like, okay, so if someone were to hack your system, like how bad would that be for you? How stressful would that be for you?
yeah,
If
yeah,
you imagined it, like what is the next step that you would take if you suddenly get hacked?
yeah,
Because those are the things that will drive fear.
yeah,
And they're realistic fears, right? Like it's
yeah.
kind of like saying, "Oh, well, if you don't have seatbelts in your car, what would you do if you got into a head-on collision?"
Right, right.
Right? Or something like that. I would be like, "Ooh, I will fly out the car."
Yeah.
Right? And
I
so
think
you want
early
to
on,
think about
like I used to give these presentations in my networking groups, and the feedback I got, people would be like, "Oh, Rachel, I'm so scared. I'm so scared." And it came across to me like I thought, "Oh, I don't want to be the fear factor person." So I think I have like dialed that back, but it's possible I dialed it way too far back.
yes.
Maybe I need to bring it back here, and kind of,
Yes.
talk about it, but talk about it in a way. I always try to be like, we have the answers for it. Like this could happen, but we have this. But I'll never forget when I first started and people would be like, "Oh, I'm so scared." And I didn't want to scare them.
Well, you should have said, if you're so scared, you need to come talk to
Yeah,
me
exactly.
because I can put your fears to bed and you
Yeah.
don't have to
Yeah.
do it anymore. So like it's not so much that like I don't feel like you are trying to like drum up like all of these scary things. You're literally talking about realistic
Exactly.
threats.
What we see every day. happening.
Yes.
And it's like, and we have these really simple tools that can like, that's what is so shocking to me, is like we really have these very inexpensive tools that can stop all of this, and people really look at it like it's a luxury and not something that they need. And my messaging is everyone needs to have, if not CMIT, some sort of IT partner, because it's literally, you cannot do, you need a partner, because a lot of these tools aren't even available off the shelf to the public. You have to get it through an MSP. So it's,
And what is MSP?
sorry, MSP is a managed service provider, which means in providing those IT services to small businesses.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, so and I don't even think that you need to talk about like, I think it's more powerful to say you need a partner, you need someone to partner with versus like we've got these tools. Because if you say to me, we've got these really simple tools, I might think to myself, oh, I'm just gonna go online, I'm gonna find
Yes.
what those tools were, and I'm gonna go buy them and cut Rachel out.
Yes, that
Right?
happens. That happens.
That's not what you want. It's not even that's not what you want. That's not what you provide. You're not just a person who's like, here, you can get this like
Oh, right.
antivirus
Let me put this on
package.
your computer. Yeah, for sure.
Right? That's not what you do. You're comprehensive.
Yes.
So you don't want to just say, oh, we have these tools, because it makes people think
Yeah.
they can go get those tools.
Yes.
Especially if you say simple tool. I'm like, why am I going to pay my IT person all this money when I can just go buy this one tool that she said I needed? So
Yes.
be careful how you
Yeah.
message,
Right.
because your message ends up getting misinterpreted
Yes.
as to, oh, all Rachel is a middleman.
Right.
I'm going to cut her out and go get this thing. When in
Yes.
fact, you are a partner where you're comprehensively
Yes.
protecting me
Yeah.
using
100%.
several things. So I would remove that tool comment.
Done. Chucked. It's
Say,
deleted.
we're
Delete.
a partner. We're here to protect you. We're here to make sure that like you're not going to get hacked. And in the event if you do get hacked, we're right there, and we're
Yeah.
right there to come help you fix it.
Yeah. 100%.
Right? Like immediately, right? So that kind of thing. So really dig deep into their fears. If they don't have any fears, tell them a few stories. Ask them, hey, in this particular scenario, are you prepared? Are you like, okay, if this were to happen to your organization, right?
Yeah.
But mainly, I would say stick to storytelling and then asking questions, and in some cases, education.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great, Alex.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I love this. Thank you so much. I'm,
Yeah.
I'm invigorated. And so this is great. Thank you.
Awesome. And if anyone wanted to work with you, Rachel, how can they reach you?
Sure. They can find me at cmitsolutions.com/San Mateo, or you can call me at 650-770-0258.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Rachel, for being here today. And I will have Rachel's information in the show notes. So for anyone wanting to learn more about Rachel, can check out the show notes. So thank you, listeners, for tuning in to another episode of Negotiation with Alice. And thanks, Rachel, for being with us today.
Thanks, Alice.